My sister silently posted online calling me the toxic one of the family, but she never knew my next move would shatter her dream life. The Facebook notification popped up on my phone while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my corner office. I almost ignored it, but something about the preview text made me pause, finally blocking my toxic sister. Family is better without her drama. I clicked on the notification and read Emma's full post. Below her declaration, she'd written 3 paragraphs about how some people never grow up, never take responsibility, and how cutting toxic family members out of your life is an act of self-care. The post had already received 43 likes and 17 supportive comments from mutual friends and family members. People were praising her for setting boundaries and choosing her peace. I sat back in my leather chair and looked out at the city skyline. 26 years old, and my sister still saw me as the family disappointment who never amounted to anything. She had no idea that the woman she was publicly calling toxic was actually the CEO of Meridian Tech Solutions, the same company that had just offered her the marketing director position she'd been dreaming about for 2 years. I didn't respond to the post. I didn't argue or defend myself. Instead, I picked up my phone and made one call. "Hello, Jennifer. It's Alexandra. I need you to rescind the job offer we extended to Emma Torres yesterday. 3 years ago, I founded Meridian Tech Solutions with $50,000 I'd saved from freelance web development work. What started as a one-person operation had grown into a full-service digital marketing agency with 37 employees and annual revenue approaching $8 million. My family knew none of this. To them, I was still the college dropout who'd given up on her education to play around with computers. They assumed I was barely scraping by as a freelance web designer, living paycheck to paycheck in my small downtown apartment. They never asked about my work beyond polite dinner conversation. When I mentioned landing new clients, they nodded sympathetically and changed the subject. They saw my business talk as either boasting or delusion. Emma, in particular, had always viewed me as the irresponsible little sister who refused to grow up and get a real job. She worked in traditional marketing for a mid-sized firm, making $65,000 a year and constantly lecturing me about career stability. "You can't just rely on little freelance projects forever, Alex," she'd say during family dinners. "At some point, you need to think about your future. This computer stuff isn't a real career path." I'd smile and nod, not mentioning that my little freelance projects were generating more revenue than her entire department. The irony was that Emma was actually quite talented at marketing. When Meridian Tech started looking for a marketing director 6 months ago, I'd anonymously recommended her to our HR department. She went through the same interview process as every other candidate, competing against 47 other applicants. She earned the position based on her skills and experience. Yesterday, our HR director, Jennifer, had called Emma with the good news. The position came with a $95,000 salary, full benefits, equity options, and the opportunity to lead marketing strategy for one of the fastest-growing companies in the region. Emma had been ecstatic. She'd called our parents immediately, then posted on Facebook about landing her dream job at an innovative tech company. She had no idea she'd just been hired by her toxic sister. After reading Emma's post this morning, I called Jennifer into my office. "I need you to rescind the job offer we extended to Emma Torres yesterday." Jennifer looked confused. "Emma Torres? Alex, her references were excellent, and the team loved her. Is there something wrong?" "There's a conflict of interest that just came to my attention." "What kind of conflict?" "She's my sister." Jennifer's eyes widened. "Your sister? But her last name is Torres, and yours is Martinez. I use my mother's maiden name professionally. Emma and I have different fathers. Having a family member work for the company isn't necessarily a problem. Jennifer, she doesn't know I own this company. She thinks I'm a struggling freelance web designer. She doesn't know you're the CEO? My family has no idea what I actually do for a living." Jennifer sat down, processing this. "That's actually pretty impressive that you've kept this private for 3 years. It wasn't intentional initially. I just never corrected their assumptions. So, what's the conflict of interest?" I showed her Emma's Facebook post. Jennifer read it silently, her expression changing from confusion to understanding. "Oh," she said quietly. "Oh, wow. I can't have a senior employee who publicly calls me toxic and claims the world is better off without me. Even if she doesn't know she's talking about her boss, that does create a problematic dynamic. Call her and rescind the offer. Tell her the position has been eliminated due to budget restructuring." "Are you sure about this?" "I'm sure." She made her feelings about me very clear. Jennifer nodded and left my office. 30 minutes later, she knocked on my door. "It's done." I called Emma and told her the position had been eliminated due to unexpected budget constraints. How did she take it? She was devastated. She asked if there might be other opportunities in the future, and I told her we'd keep her resume on file. Over the next few hours, I watched Emma's Facebook activity escalate. First, she posted about the job offer being rescinded, describing it as devastating and a sign that the universe is testing me. The same people who had supported her decision to block me were now offering sympathy. Several relatives suggested that her job loss was somehow my fault, that my negative energy was affecting her life, even from a distance. My cousin Mark commented, "This is why you were right to cut Alex out. Toxic people bring bad luck even when they're not around." Around 3:00 p.m., my mother called me. "Alexandra, I just saw Emma's posts about losing that job opportunity. She's really upset." "I saw the posts too, Mom. She thinks maybe you somehow jinxed it. I know that sounds silly, but she's looking for someone to blame. She's blaming me for her job being eliminated. Well, she's been having a hard time lately, and when people are stressed, they sometimes look for scapegoats. So, I'm the scapegoat for Emma's career problems. Alex, you know how Emma is. She gets dramatic when things don't go her way. Mom, did you see what she posted about me this morning? I saw something about blocking toxic family members. I assumed you two had gotten into another argument. We didn't get into an argument. She just decided to publicly announce that the family is better off without me." Mom was quiet for a moment. "Alex, I'm sure she didn't mean it personally. How do you not mean something like that personally? You know Emma. She posts dramatic things when she's upset. So it's okay for her to call me toxic. But I'm somehow responsible for her job falling through. Maybe you could reach out to her. She's having a really hard time right now." I almost laughed. "Mom, she literally just blocked me and announced that the family is better off without me. Why would I reach out to her? Because you're sisters. Family is more important than social media drama, is it? Because Emma seems to think our family is better without me in it." "Alex, don't be petty." "I'm not being petty, Mom. I'm respecting Emma's clearly stated wishes." At 5:00 p.m., I received a text from Emma's number, which surprised me since she'd claimed to have blocked me. "Alex, I know we're not talking, but I really need someone to vent to. The job I was supposed to start on Monday just got eliminated. Can you call me?" I stared at the message for several minutes. The same person who had announced that morning that the family was better off without me was now reaching out for emotional support. I texted back, "I thought you blocked me because I was too toxic. That was just Facebook drama. This is real life. I really need my sister right now. Emma, you literally posted this morning that the family is better without me. Why would you want support from someone you described that way? Alex, that wasn't about you specifically. I was just venting about family stress in general." I screenshotted her text and compared it to her Facebook post. "Emma, you specifically said blocking my toxic sister and family is better without her. How is that not about me specifically? You're being way too sensitive. It's just social media. So, when you need something from me, it's just social media. But when you wanted to humiliate me publicly, it was important enough to write 3 paragraphs about. Alex, I'm really struggling right now. Can we please not do this? Emma, I think you were right this morning. Maybe the family is better off without the drama." I blocked her number and returned to my quarterly reports. Over the next week, Emma posted daily updates about her job search, each one more desperate than the last. She had turned down 2 other offers while waiting for the Meridian Tech position, and now she was competing in a much smaller pool. Several relatives continued to blame her career troubles on my supposed negative influence despite the fact that I hadn't spoken to Emma in months. On Thursday, my mother called again. "Alex, Emma is really struggling with this job situation. She's wondering if maybe you could ask around in your computer network to see if anyone needs marketing help." I almost laughed out loud. "My computer network? You know, the people you do web design for. Maybe one of them needs marketing assistance. Mom, you want Emma to ask for help from the toxic sister who brings drama?" Alex, she didn't mean that seriously. She seemed pretty serious when she wrote 3 paragraphs about it. Family helps family. Alex does it because Emma made it very clear that I'm not really family. She said the family is better without me. You're being stubborn. I'm being consistent. Emma wanted me out of her life, so I'm respecting her wishes. The following Monday, Emma posted a new message. "I've been thinking about family lately, and the importance of not burning bridges over temporary frustrations. Sometimes we say things that don't reflect our true feelings. I want to apologize to anyone I may have hurt with my recent posts." An hour later, I received a text. "Alex, I posted an apology. I know I was wrong to say those things. I was stressed and frustrated, and I took it out on you unfairly. Can we please talk?" That evening, I decided to call her. "Emma, I saw your apology post. Alex, I'm so sorry. I was having a terrible week, and I took it out on you. Emma, what exactly were you stressed about when you wrote that post?" "Work stuff, mostly. And I was frustrated with some family dynamics." "What kind of family dynamics?" "Just feeling like some people in our family get more support than others." "You think Mom and Dad worry about my career? They're always talking about how you're not living up to your potential and how you need more stable work. And you see that as a problem?" "Alex, I'm not trying to judge your choices. I just think you're really smart, and you could probably do amazing things if you found the right opportunity." "What kind of opportunity?" "Maybe working for a tech company or a marketing agency or something that uses your computer skills but gives you more security." I realized Emma's resentment wasn't really about me being toxic. It was about feeling like our parents worried more about my supposed career problems than they celebrated her actual success. "Emma, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "The job that got eliminated, what company was it with?" "Meridian Tech Solutions. They're this amazing digital marketing company that's growing really fast. The CEO is supposed to be this brilliant young entrepreneur who built the company from nothing." Sounds impressive. It really was. The salary was great, the benefits were amazing, and it would have been a huge step forward in my career. I took a deep breath. "Emma, I need to tell you something about that job." "What do you mean?" "Meridian Tech Solutions is my company." The silence lasted nearly 30 seconds. "What?" she finally whispered. "I'm the CEO of Meridian Tech Solutions. I founded the company 3 years ago." "That's impossible." "Emma, I own the company that offered you the marketing director position, but you're a freelance web designer." "No, I'm the CEO of an $8 million digital marketing agency with 37 employees." "Alex, that doesn't make sense. You live in that tiny apartment." "I choose to live modestly because I prefer to reinvest profits back into the business." "You're serious?" "Completely serious. So, when I applied for the job, you were applying to work for your toxic sister." Another long silence. "Alex, I had no idea." "I know. That's exactly the problem." "What do you mean, Emma?" "For 3 years, you've dismissed my work as playing around with computers. You've lectured me about getting a real job. You've treated me like the irresponsible little sister who can't get her life together. But I didn't know." "You didn't know because you never asked. You made assumptions about my life without ever bothering to learn the details. If I had known you owned a company, I never would have." "Would have what? Treated me with respect?" "Emma, the fact that you only respect me now that you know I'm successful says everything." She was crying now. "Alex, I'm so sorry." The job offer was rescinded because I couldn't have a senior employee who publicly called me toxic. "You rescinded my job offer." I rescinded the job offer of someone who fundamentally disrespected the CEO, even if she didn't know the CEO was her sister. Alex, please. I made a terrible mistake. Can't we fix this? Emma, I spent 3 years building a successful business while you lectured me about getting my life together. I had the opportunity to hire my talented sister, and she responded by calling me toxic on social media. I didn't know it was you. That's exactly the point. You treated me poorly when you thought I had nothing to offer. Now that you know I'm successful, suddenly you want my forgiveness. That's not fair, is it? This morning you thought I was a struggling freelancer who brought drama to the family. Now you know I'm a successful CEO, and suddenly you want my help. Alex, what can I do to make this right? Emma, I don't know if you can. You've spent years treating me like a failure and then publicly humiliated me when you thought it was safe to do so. But we're sisters, aren't we? Because this morning you thought the family was better off without me. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Yes, you were. But being wrong and getting caught aren't the same as learning from your mistakes. What do you mean? I mean that you're sorry now because you found out I can help your career. But if I was actually the struggling freelancer you thought I was, would you be apologizing? She didn't answer immediately. Emma, I don't know. I'd like to think I would have apologized anyway, but you don't know for sure. No, I don't know for sure. That's the problem, Emma. Your respect for me is conditional on my usefulness to you. We talked for another hour about our family dynamics and the possibility of rebuilding our relationship. Emma's resentment had been building for years, based on her perception that our parents worried more about my career than they appreciated her success. Her Facebook post had been the culmination of years of frustration, but it had also revealed how she viewed me when she thought I was vulnerable. Alex, she said as our conversation wound down, is there any way I could still be considered for the marketing director position? Emma, I can't hire someone who called me toxic, regardless of whether they knew I was the CEO, even if I apologize publicly and privately. It's not about apologies. It's about judgment. You made a decision to publicly humiliate someone you thought couldn't affect your career. That shows poor judgment that I can't ignore in a senior employee. So, there's no way to fix this. There might be, but it would take time and consistent changes in how you approach relationships with people you think have less power than you. What kind of changes? Emma, you need to think about why you felt comfortable publicly calling me toxic when you thought I was struggling, but you're begging for forgiveness now that you know I'm successful. I understand. Do you? Because I'm not sure you really grasp how this looks from my perspective. Help me understand, Emma. Imagine if I had posted that you were toxic and the family was better off without you. Then imagine that later you found out I was in a position to help or hurt your career. How would you feel? I'd feel betrayed. Exactly. You'd wonder if I had been planning to hurt you all along. But you weren't planning to hurt me, were you? No, Emma. I recommended you for the position anonymously. I wanted you to succeed. Then why did you rescind the offer? Because after your post, I realized I couldn't have someone working for my company who had such fundamental disrespect for me. Alex, I respect you. I just didn't understand your career. Emma, respect isn't conditional on understanding someone's career. Respect is about treating people with basic human dignity, regardless of their circumstances. You're right. Am I? Because if I had actually been the struggling freelancer you thought I was, would your post have been acceptable? No, it wouldn't have been acceptable regardless. Then why did you post it? Because I was frustrated and stressed, and I took it out on someone I thought couldn't fight back. Her honesty was surprising. Emma, that's exactly the problem. You chose to hurt someone you thought was powerless to respond. I understand that now. We ended the call with an agreement to continue our conversation in a few days. Over the next week, Emma did something unexpected. She posted a detailed apology on Facebook, taking full responsibility for her previous posts and acknowledging that she'd been wrong to publicly attack a family member. More importantly, She started volunteering with a local nonprofit that helped unemployed professionals with job search assistance. 3 weeks later, Emma called me again. Alex, I've been thinking about what you said regarding how I treat people I think have less power than me. And you were right. I've been reflecting on other situations where I've been dismissive toward people I thought were beneath me professionally, such as the barista at my coffee shop who mentioned wanting to be a writer. I told her she should focus on realistic career goals. The intern at my old job who was interested in starting his own business. I lectured him about gaining experience first. How do you feel about those interactions now? Terrible. I was projecting my own insecurities about career stability onto people who were being entrepreneurial and creative. What made you realize this? Working with the job search nonprofit, I've been helping people who are between careers, and I've seen how much courage it takes to pursue unconventional paths. I've also seen how destructive it can be when people dismiss their efforts. That's a significant realization, Emma. Alex, I owe you more than an apology. I owe you respect for what you've accomplished, and I owe you an acknowledgement that I was completely wrong about your life. I appreciate that. Is there any possibility that we could rebuild our relationship? Not because I want something from you, but because I genuinely miss having you as my sister. I thought about her question. Over the past month, I'd watched Emma make genuine efforts to change her perspective and behavior. Her apology had been public and specific. Her volunteer work showed commitment to understanding different viewpoints. Emma, I'd be willing to try rebuilding our relationship, but it would need to be based on mutual respect and honest communication. What would that look like? It would mean no more assumptions about each other's lives without asking for details. It would mean supporting each other's choices even when we don't fully understand them, and it would mean taking responsibility for our actions. I can commit to that. Emma, I also want you to understand that I'm not going to pretend to be less successful than I am to make other people comfortable. I wouldn't want you to. That means our family is going to learn the truth about my business, and there might be some awkward conversations. I think that's probably overdue. Are you prepared to support me through those conversations, even if it means acknowledging that you were wrong about me for years? Yes, I am. 2 months later, Emma and I had lunch downtown near the Meridian Tech offices. It was our 4th meeting since we'd started rebuilding our relationship, and the first one that felt completely natural. How's the new job? I asked. She'd found a position with a smaller marketing firm. It's good. The pay isn't as high as the Meridian position would have been, but the work is interesting. I'm glad you found something that fits. Alex, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever regret not telling our family about your success earlier? I thought about it. Sometimes it would have been nice to have their support while I was building the company. Why didn't you tell them? Initially, it was because I wanted to succeed on my own. But after a while, it became a way to see how people really viewed me when they thought I had nothing to offer. And what did you learn? I learned that a lot of people's respect is conditional on their perception of your success, including mine, including yours. But I also learned that some people are capable of recognizing their mistakes and changing. Do you think our parents will react well when they find out? I don't know. Part of me worries they'll be hurt that I didn't trust them. Part of me worries they'll suddenly start treating me differently because they know I'm successful. When are you planning to tell them? Soon. I'm tired of hiding who I am. Would you like me to be there? Would you want to be there? Yes. I think I owe them an explanation for my behavior toward you, and I want to support you. I'd appreciate that. The following Sunday, Emma and I drove to our parents' house for what we told them would be an important family conversation. Girls, you've been so mysterious, Dad said as we sat down. What's the big news? I looked at Emma, who nodded encouragingly. Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something about my work that I should have shared a long time ago. I spent the next 20 minutes explaining Meridian Tech Solutions, our growth, our client base, and my role as CEO. I showed them our website and recent press coverage. My parents sat in stunned silence. Alex, Dad finally said, You're telling us you own a company worth $8 million? The company generates $8 million in annual revenue, and you've been running this for 3 years? Yes, while we've been worrying about your career and lecturing you about getting a real job. Yes, Mom started crying. Honey, why didn't you tell us? Because I wanted to see how you'd treat me when you thought I had nothing to offer. Emma spoke up. Mom, Dad, Alex is being polite. The truth is that we've all been dismissive toward her for years because we assumed she was failing professionally. But we were just trying to help, Dad protested. Were you? I asked, because it felt more like you were trying to manage and control me. Alex, we had no idea what you were actually doing. Did you ever ask for details, or did you just assume I was failing and try to fix me? They were both quiet. Mom, Dad, I love you, but you've spent years treating me like the family disappointment. You made assumptions about my work and my future without ever asking me directly. We're sorry, Mom said. We should have asked more questions. You should have, but more importantly, you should have trusted me to make good decisions about my own life. What can we do to make this right? Dad asked. You can start by treating me like the successful adult I've been for the past 3 years, instead of the struggling child you thought I was. We're proud of what you've accomplished. Are you proud of me, or are you proud of my success? What's the difference? The difference is whether your pride is conditional on my achievements or whether it's based on who I am as a person. Emma nodded. That's the lesson I had to learn too. I was only proud of Alex after I found out she was successful. But I should have been proud of her for taking risks and following her own path regardless of the outcome. You're right, Dad said slowly. We should have supported your choices even if we didn't understand them. What happens now? Dad asked. Now we rebuild our family relationships based on honesty and mutual respect, I said. No more assumptions, no more lectures about my life choices, and no more treating me like I need to be managed. Over the following months, my family slowly adjusted to the reality of who I actually was. My parents started asking genuine questions about my business and showing interest in my work. They stopped offering unsolicited career advice. Emma and I developed a stronger relationship than we'd ever had before. She became one of my most trusted advisors, and I helped her transition to a better position at a different company. The Facebook post that had started this whole situation became a turning point for our entire family. It forced us to confront years of assumptions, miscommunication, and conditional respect. 6 months later, Emma posted a new message. I've learned that success comes in many forms, and the most important thing is supporting the people you love, regardless of whether you understand their choices. Proud of my sister for building something amazing and teaching me what real family support looks like. This time, I liked the post. Sometimes the best way to save a relationship is to be willing to lose it first. And sometimes the most toxic thing in a family isn't the person everyone blames. It's the assumptions that prevent people from seeing each other clearly. My sister thought she was blocking a toxic family member. Instead, she ended up blocking her own dream job and forcing our family to confront the truth about respect, assumptions, and what it really means to support each other. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. The sister she thought was holding her back was actually the one person in a position to move her forward. But more importantly, the sister she thought was toxic turned out to be the most successful person in our family. Now she knows better.